official film's news thrill shows the United Nations beating the Axis. Remember, the equipment they are using was bought with your dollars. So now watch your dollars at work. Then buy more bonds. Till victory.
Somewhere on the Atlantic coast, U.S. troops embark on transports bound for Africa. The transport moves out to sea. At the same time, somewhere in the Atlantic, lookouts keep watch over the great British-American invasion fleet, which moves on Africa from the British Isles. 850 ships, the largest amphibious force in history, stretch around the horizon. An omen of success is the brilliant rainbow which appears before the great armada reaches the Straits of Gibraltar. After entering the Mediterranean, a British destroyer comes alongside the transport with orders from the commander. The message is hauled aboard. This unit is ordered to land on the Algerian coast west of Oran. The British merchant and naval captains confer with the U.S. Army commander. At dusk, the ships form for landing operations. Entirely in darkness, shock troops have landed on this barren, hilly shoreline and successfully carried out their mission. Oran itself has been flanked. Now, as dawn breaks over the hills, supplies and equipment are speeded to shore. U.S. troops on African soil. The Allies now control most of the Mediterranean coast of Africa. They are punching into Tunisia from east and west. The fighting in Africa is not over. It won't be over until the last Nazi is wiped out and the invasion of Europe begins. Along the banks of the River Don through the summer of 1942 was fought one of the great battles of history. In these stirring pictures, Russians move up to join that battle. As an artillery duel begins, soldiers freeze in their positions. Soviet infantrymen rescue their wounded comrades. Cracked Russian snipers are concealed behind a low-lying ridge. A Nazi breaks out from cover. The sniper draws a bead on him. Another enemy infantryman is spotted. Russia's resistance at the Don made possible the defense of Stalingrad, and it has inspired free men everywhere, proud to be Russia's allies in the battle against Nazism. Flying above the peaks of the Oran Stanley Mountains in southeastern New Guinea, the crew of a United States transport plane gets this air view of the incredibly cruel terrain in which Australian troops under the command of General Douglas MacArthur and General Sir Thomas Blamey are fighting the Jap land invasion aimed at Port Moresby and the Australian mainland. The plane swoops low over a native Papuan village, used as an Allied field base to drop supplies. Despite the tremendous problems of transportation and supply, which make such tactics as this necessary, the Allies have so far frustrated the Japs' attempts to cut across New Guinea and have just thrown him out of Kokoda, main Jap base in the interior. Fresh troops move up to the Kokoda front along the jungle trail. Advancing through the dense, tangled jungle, Australians open a skirmish. In this type of fighting, you rarely see the enemy. These native Papuan carriers file through rough mountain footpaths, bearing back men wounded in the fighting near Kokoda. No motorized equipment could penetrate this kind of terrain. A 6-day walk covers only a short distance. It rains here almost constantly. Slogging through the drenching downpour, troops keep on the go, mud or no mud. For New Guinea is Australia's first line of defense. At its nearest point, it is only 100 miles across the water from Australia. Douglas MacArthur's men must hold New Guinea as an anchor of the vital arc which it forms with the Solomon Islands and New Caledonia, guarding Australia and the United Nations supply lines. All United Nations forces are in this crucial fight to knock the Jap out of the South Pacific and roll him back to Yokohama. At dawn, British airmen take off to rake German positions with machine gun fire. Trailing clouds of sand, the enormous might of the 8th Army's mechanized equipment rolls forward. It includes strong, swift gun-carrying armored cars and modern tanks. Dueling at close quarters, British field guns pound the retreating Nazis unmercifully. Infantry advances in a bursting hell of shell fire. British advance sweeps on. Its purpose is utter and complete destruction of the Axis armies. It smashes ahead at a record rate of over 35 miles a day to form the eastern prong of the pincers that is closing in on Rommel with merciless and steady certainty.
Aboard an unnamed American aircraft carrier, gunners fight Jap air attacks. Watch the stern of the carrier. Near miss throws a curtain of water over the deck. The gunners got this Jap plane. The deck is patched, ready for action again. This is the way that ships and men of the Navy fight their battles and win them.